All right, welcome everyone. Today we are strapping in for a high-speed journey across the globe. We're going to be exploring Earth's major ecosystems, what scientists call biomes. And we're going to see how just a couple of simple rules, really just rules of climate, end up creating this incredible diversity of life that we see all around us, from the densest jungles you can imagine to the most barren, empty deserts. And it all really kicks off with a bit of a puzzle, a real head-scratcher. How is it possible that two places at the exact same latitude can be so incredibly different? I mean, one is just soaked in rain year-round, while the other is bone dry, desperate for even a single drop. The answer? Well, it's hidden in the planet's ecological blueprint. So, to crack that puzzle wide open, we really need to get our heads around one key concept, the biome. Just think of it like that, the planet's ecological blueprint. It's going to be the framework for our entire journey today. So, what exactly is a biome? Well, at its core, it's just a huge community of plants and animals living in a distinct region. Think of the Amazon rainforest or the Sahara Desert. And here's the kicker. What's the one master architect shaping every single living thing in that community? It's climate. Yep, that's it. Specifically, temperature and rainfall. Those two forces, they call all the shots. They literally dictate everything. Okay, so let's start our journey where the sun's energy is just relentless, right at the planet's belt. We're talking about the equatorial region, between 10 degrees north and 10 degrees south. Welcome to the home of the tropical rainforest. Now, here at the equator, the rules of the game are pretty straightforward. You've got extreme heat and humidity and rain pretty much all the time. Now, you'd think that'd make life a total breeze, right? But here's the twist. All that water and warmth means everything is growing, all at once, all the time. And that creates one single overwhelming challenge for every plant here, a constant, brutal fight for sunlight. And this relentless fight for light, it literally shapes the entire forest, building it up into 4 distinct layers, stacked on top of each other. Way up at the top, you have the giants, the emergent layer, just soaking up all that sun. Right below them, you've got the canopy, which is this incredibly dense roof of leaves that blocks, get this, up to 95% of the sunlight from ever reaching the ground. And that, of course, creates the gloomy understory and finally the almost complete darkness of the forest floor. And this is where you see just brilliant adaptation in action. I mean, think about it. If you're a new plant, starting out on that dark forest floor is, well, it's pretty much a death sentence. So what do? What's the workaround? You become an epiphyte. These are these incredibly clever plants, think of orchids and ferns, that just give up on the ground altogether. They grow on the branches of other, taller trees, basically hitching a ride up to the sunlight. It's genius. Okay, let's move on. As we travel a little bit north and south of the equator, into that zone between 10 and 30 degrees latitude, this is where things get really interesting. You'd think you'd find just one type of climate, right? Something consistent? No way. Instead, you find a world of absolutely dramatic contrasts. And it all comes down to a surprisingly simple but incredibly powerful force of nature, the trade winds. See, at these latitudes, the winds almost always blow from east to west. As they cross the ocean, they just soak up tons of moisture. And as you're about to see, where you happen to be standing on a continent in the path of that wind, whether you're on the east coast, in the middle, or on the west coast, well, that determines pretty much everything. So just look at how this plays out. On the east coast, those winds roll right off the ocean, just loaded with moisture. Bam! You get lush monsoon forests. Then, as those winds travel inland, they start dropping all that rain, getting drier and drier. The result? The huge savannah grasslands in the middle of the continent. And by the time those poor winds finally reach the west coast, they're totally wrung out, almost completely dry. And that's how you get the world's great hot deserts. I mean, think about that. 3 totally different worlds, all lined up at the very same latitude. So the really crucial point here is watching how life adapts to this changing amount of water, right? In the monsoon forests, you have those really distinct wet and dry seasons. So the trees there, like teak, have a great strategy. They just drop their leaves during the dry season to save water. But move into the savanna, where there's even less rain, and the trees start to thin out, giving way to these enormous seas of grass. And that, of course, supports a completely different cast of characters, a whole new set of animals. And listen, when we say seas of grass, we're not kidding. In some parts of the African savanna, there's a type of grass that's perfectly named elephant grass, and it can tower up to 8 feet tall. Yeah, 8 feet. It's not great to eat, but it's more than tall enough to hide an elephant, which, as you can imagine, creates the perfect environment for both predators and their prey.
But the grass has a secret weapon, a really clever strategy in its ongoing battle with trees. During that long dry season, the grass gets so incredibly dry that the friction from it swaying in the wind can actually spark natural fires. And these fires just sweep across the plains, burning away any little tree saplings that are trying to get a foothold. But the grasses? Their roots are protected underground, their seeds are fire-resistant, they always come back, often even stronger than before. It's how the grassland stays a grassland.
And finally, we hit the desert, the driest stop on our tour. I mean, life here just seems impossible, right? But there are these plants, called xerophytes, that are absolute masters of survival. To stop water from escaping, their leaves have shrunk down into sharp, protective spines. Their stems get a waxy coating, kind of like sunscreen, and they even turn green to take over the job of making food, all while their roots are burrowing super deep, searching for any tiny bit of water. And you know what's truly amazing? Plants all over the world that aren't even related, like cacti in the Americas and euphorbias in Africa, they came up with the exact same set of solutions to the exact same problem. It's just incredible. All right, let's keep moving on our journey, heading away from the intense heat of the tropics and into the temperate zones. Now, in this part of the world, the defining feature of life isn't constant heats or just one wet season. No, it's all about the dramatic rhythm of 4 distinct seasons. And this constant pulse, hot summers, cold winters, and everything in between, it creates a whole new set of challenges and a whole new set of opportunities for life. And guess what? Just like in the tropics, where you are on the continent matters a lot. Out on the western coasts, you find that really unique Mediterranean climate. You know the one, wet winters, but long, dry summers. This favors tough plants with leathery leaves, like olive trees, that are just built to hold on to water. But if you head into the middle of the continents, you get the temperate grasslands, what we call the steppe or the prairie. Here, the grasses have these deep roots that let them survive fire, drought, even freezing winters. And all that creates unbelievably rich, fertile soil. So it is absolutely no accident that these 2 biomes have become, for us, the world's orchard and the world's breadbasket. Yeah, let's just zoom in on that special Mediterranean climate for a second. Think about it. Those cool, rainy winters let the grapevines just store up a ton of water and energy. Then, the long, hot, sun-drenched summers do their magic, concentrating all the sugars in the fruit. And that is the perfect recipe for great wine. It's exactly why regions, from California to central Chile to, of course, the Mediterranean itself, are world famous for their vineyards. We call the practice viticulture, and it's this perfect blend of climate, agriculture, and culture all rolled into one. So, as we bring our little global tour to a close, a really powerful theme starts to stand out, doesn't it? We've seen this unbreakable, undeniable link between a region's climate and the kind of life that's able to make a home there. And really, if there's one big takeaway, it's this: climate is destiny. The amount of sun and the amount of rain a place gets, well, that writes the fundamental rules for survival. It's what determines if life is going to have to climb for light in a packed jungle, or learn to endure fire on a vast savanna, or figure out how to save every last drop of water in a sun-scorched desert. And that, of course, leaves us with one final and pretty urgent question. We've just seen how perfectly all these biomes are adapted to the climates they're in right now. But as those climates start to change, as they begin to shift, what new stories are going to be written? What will be the new destiny for these absolutely incredible, intricate worlds of life?